Can't get any words. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. How are we all today? I hope we're well. Welcome to our UFC 317 breakdown. 317 is not a number that rolls off the tongue, does it? Like 316, that sounded okay. 315, 317 just sounds a bit clunky and unorganized. I don't know, but in saying that, look, I've heard both sides of the fence on this card. Okay, I've heard a lot of people say that it's an absolute banger of a card, and a lot of people say it's a bit of a bit lackluster for a UFC fight week card. And I'm of the belief that a lot of these fights should be fucking bangers. There is a lot of potentially great fights on this lineup, a lot of great matchups, and guys, it has been a while since you've heard me mutter these words. A couple of dogs on the card. Oh yes, I like me some underdogs on UFC 317. But before we rip into that, let's touch on a couple of news headlines and shit like that since the last time that we've been in here. And I don't think there's any bigger. I touched on it on the solo show this week. I don't think there's going to be bigger MMA news of 2025 than Jon Jones retiring. Now, I recorded that on Sunday when the news broke, and after I finished recording, all the goss started coming out about the criminal charges, the arrests, blah, blah, blah. And would there be any other way for Jon Jones to retire other than going out like that? I don't think so. It's just not in his character. So he's gone out the best way that he knows possible. And again, it's hard to know what the truth is. There's what's that saying? There's two sides of every story or something, but I don't know. Look, I'm not going to go into it again in depth. I went on a 12-minute rant on the solo episode, so if you haven't listened to that, go check that out if you want to know my opinion on the whole matter. But what I do want to quickly touch on is I listened to the Schaub show this week, and in my little rant, I spoke about Brendan Schaub, okay? And there is a reason why I'm a broke open mic comedian who runs a podcast in his garage with zero sponsors. And then you've got Brendan Schaub, who's he's a ex top 10 UFC fighter. He's a successful podcaster. He's got comedy specials out, whether they're good or bad. He's done it all right. And he's climbed the mountaintop. And there is a reason why he's done that, and I'm sitting here. And that's because I'm not going to say that he watched my reel or anything and got any clues, but he took the idea that I had. Look, I don't know how to word. I'm not throwing allegations out there. It sounds like I'm coming at him. I'm like, Brendan, that was my fucking idea. You owe me money. That's not what I'm saying. We had similar ideas, okay? But here's where we differ. Brendan he took it to the next level, and he did it in a genius way. And I was like, holy fuck, how did I not see that? How did I not think of that? This is why he's on the big bucks. Now, he proposed the idea on the Schaub show this week that, yes, along the lines of me, the UFC mends the bridge with Francis. Now that Jon's gone, there is no superstars in the heavyweight division, okay? It is very lackluster. And a lot of the opponents that Tom Aspinall can go up against, snooze fest. Nobody is going to pay $70 for a card of that caliber. So their only option is to move up Alex Pereira, which then that takes him out of the light heavyweight. And Alex actually came out this week or last week saying that he doesn't really have much interest in moving up. He said he's happy with where he's at. So the other option, mend the bridge with Francis, and this is where we differed. Schaub said Tom Aspinall versus Francis. And I was like, oh my God, that is so genius. That gives Jon extra time to be retired. And it also gives Tom a fight. He hasn't fought in fucking something crazy, like 18 months or something. It also brings Francis back into the UFC, one of the biggest superstars in the heavyweight division in the last 10 years or so. And then the winner of that fight gets Jon Jones. Jon Jones comes out of retirement and he either A, fights Francis, the fight that never happened, or B, fights Tom Aspinall, the other fight that never happened. Either way, it just increases that payday for the UFC and for Jon Jones, for everyone involved, really. It's the best for everyone. So, Dana, if you didn't listen to Schaub, listen to me. Make that happen. Re-sign Francis, put him up against Tom Aspinall. Winner gets Jon Jones in the biggest fight in UFC history. Holy shit. That is some crazy stuff. But a couple of other things that have happened since our last UFC breakdown. This is a bit of a sad one. This actually... I didn't think, you know, when you get like news and it hits you weirdly and you're like, oh, fuck, I didn't think I'd be that upset about this whole thing. But, and look, I'm not upset. I'm not losing sleep about it or anything, but it was one of those news articles that I read and I was like, it took me back. But the whole Ben Askren thing, and I get it pretty well happened after the last UFC breakdown. So I'm not going to go too in depth with it. Every podcast has covered it. But in short, Ben Askren, ex-UFC fighter, came into the organization and just seemed like a world beater, okay? One of the best wrestlers in the world, comes in, shows us what he does, and then he gets that vicious knockout by Jorge Masvidal, the flying knee, which unfortunately, the amazing career Ben Askren had, Bellator champion, coming across the UFC, dominating all the way up until that fight, all just got swept under the rug with that flying knee that he copped to the head. And don't quote me, but I think that is still the fastest UFC knockout in history. I don't know. I don't have my records in front of me, but I believe it is. So that is sad that that's his somewhat legacy. But if you look past that, look back at his career before that, incredible fighter. So yeah, he suffered a staph infection or staph infection. I still don't know how to say it because like all the American podcasts I listen to, they say staph infection. But whenever I hear anyone in Australia, they say staph, but I don't fucking know. You guys know what I'm talking about. And it just got to the point where it basically, fucked him up pretty bad. So he's been put in a medically induced coma for probably the last month or so. His wife came out with a tweet or whatever it was last week with a bit of an update saying that he's like not good. Like the doctors are bringing him in and out of consciousness and he's reacting to some stuff but not other stuff. And it's, it's crazy. It would be a crazy thing to go through. And then the other news article I saw this week, again, everything's alleged in this at the moment. No one really knows what's going on. But I've seen that, Ben Askren is on like a wait list for a lung transplant, which is insane. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I can't say I've ever personally heard of someone getting a lung transplant. So I couldn't even imagine how hard that would be. Like lungs are they're a huge organ to be swapping over. But hey, that's not what I'm getting paid to sit here and do. You know what? I'm not actually getting paid anything to sit here and do that. So why don't we talk about lungs for the next 45 minutes? But no, we're not going to do that, guys. The next one, Ilia Topuria. We're going to get to him at the end of this episode, but he's been in a little bit of a beef with Paddy Pimblett lately, and part of me wishes he wouldn't bite back, okay? Paddy is purely doing this to make his star rise even higher, and hats off to him. It's what you got to do in the fight game. The loudest, what's another saying? Like, this isn't it, but you guys are going to get the gist, okay? The loudest mouth gets fed. I've just mixed like two sayings together, but you guys get it, right? Like, whoever is the most loud, obnoxious person in the UFC, they get all the glory, they get all the title fights, they get all the fanfare, okay? And that's exactly what Paddy's doing, and shout out to him. He's doing it well. And he seems to be getting under Ilia Topuria's skin at the moment and just firing him up. So part of me, looking at it like, how would you say, professionally, I suppose, there is so many more fights I would prefer to see Ilia Topuria in if he gets through Charles Oliveira this weekend, which we will touch on at the end of this episode. But on the other hand, entertainment factor, do we want to see him get in the ring and just absolutely fucking mollywop Paddy Pimblett? Because, look, from what I've seen, and I've said it before, it took me a while to get on the Paddy train. I'm a little bit on it now. After his last fight, he actually did impress me, so I'm pretty well both feet on the Paddy train now, but I cannot see a world where he gets through Ilia Topuria in any way, really. I think he would get absolutely destroyed. But let's slowly creep forward. Look, if I seem a little bit fast paced and I'm chewing through all this, my week has been a shambles. Okay, if you've been following me on socials, I've been dipping in and out a little bit there, trying to keep you guys posted. But again, today is no different. My youngest son Parker, homesick again, and we don't know what it is. Some sort of fucking rash thing. So I'm recording this, taking him to the doctors, then do all the editing and posting when I get back. So I'm probably just going to dip through the card pretty quickly, and then I'll go into the main card in depth. But either way, guys, we're showing up here. We're getting it done. And before we do rip into the card, I will say UFC, like this mid-year card, the UFC Fight Week card, okay? The UFC normally blows it out of the water, one of the biggest cards of the year. And like I said, I think they've done it again this year, but they had a lot of difficulty getting here. I made a list of fights that have changed or fallen out from this card since it got announced. So this first one hurt pretty deep for all us Aussies. A heavyweight fight fell out between Justin Tafa, who I wanted to see in the cage again more than anything, Logan City boy. He was supposed to fight Denise, and he has been replaced. We will get onto that when we break down that fight. Another one in the flyweight division, Manel Kape, I think his name is. He got pulled from the Brendan Royval fight. Again, another step in. Friend of the podcast in that one, Joshua Van stepping in. Again, we will break down that one. Middleweight. Oh, yeah. Okay, this was a bad one. Paulo Costa. If he does not get cut after this, I don't know what he has on Dana White. He must have a photo of Dana White in a dress or something, because I think this is not even joking. Maybe his 6th or 7th fight that he's pulled out of. So yeah, crazy shit. He reckons he's got an illness or an injury again, and just pulled the card like a week or two ago, which is insane. Get in the cage and fight, dude. But that one has been moved to 318. Whether or not it'll stay there, we'll see. We'll see if he can get his shit together. And then, this wasn't a dropout, but the backup, I thought this was pretty cool. The backup for the main event, if Topuria or Oliveira does get injured, is Arman Tsarukyan. And again, Topuria and Tsarukyan have had a bit of back and forth. Topuria doesn't believe that he should be there, blah, blah, blah. And look, judging off Tsarukyan's last few fights, he's well and truly deserving of being up there. Like, his next win will get him well within, if it's not a title fight, it's like number one contender for sure. But yes, let's rip into the card. I just want to make note, I put together this breakdown on Monday, because I was going to record it on Monday because I was ahead of time, and then it just shit happened, you know. So all the odds up until the main card have moved slightly, but they're all pretty well the same within reason, you know. So let's rip in. I am recording this on, what is today? Wednesday. So this comes out tomorrow. So if you jump on quickly, you should still get some of these odds. We kick off in the welterweight division. We have Nico Price versus Jacoby Smith. Now, the one that I know the most in this is Nico Price, okay? His record is not great, but I can say this. Every time I've seen a Nico Price fight, I've had fun. I've enjoyed to see him absolutely bang in the octagon. Holy shit, it is so windy here. I don't know if that just came through. So yeah, he is a very sort of unpredictable fighter, can just make shit go any which way at any time. But his opponent, this Smith guy, I don't know if he's new to the UFC, but I definitely don't remember seeing him fight as of late. He is 10-0, which is, it's a good record, but I've got to stick to what I know, and I'm going to go Gonna go my mate. Price at $1.30. So lock that one in. Then we move to the heavyweight division. We've got Jonata Denise versus Alvin Hines. So this is the one that Tafa pulled out of. Alvin Hines has stepped in. He is an undefeated heavyweight, which, look, I've said this a few times on the last fight breakdowns. Undefeated heavyweights, I don't know what it is about them. They just seem to scare the fuck out of me. Like, once you've got a loss in the heavyweight division, you seem almost mortal. But when you're undefeated, swinging with the big dogs, it is like, holy shit, what is this guy made of? Absolute stone. But Denise has impressed me in his last couple of fights, and I actually tipped against him. I think I tipped against him in his last 2 fights, and he's proved me wrong both times. So, because of that, I understand his opponent is an undefeated heavyweight, and I just said that I like that. I'm going to go Denise in this fight. Now, if at the end of this, I have a couple of underdogs that if you're feeling extra spicy, have a dabble. And Hines is one of them. Then we move on to the middleweight division. We have another one of the Can't Get Any Worse favourites. Found himself in a little bit of legal issues as of late. We touched on it last UFC breakdown, but we have Cedric Dumas, who I refer to as one of the Lost Island boys, versus Jackson McVeigh. Now, I don't remember seeing much of Jackson McVeigh, but looking at his records and things like that, he seems to have a bit of power behind him, a little bit of a knockout record, but I think Cedric is going to come out and hopefully get this win. He's going to want to get those legal issues behind him. He's going to want to move forward with his UFC career, and I think he has to. If he creates a burden for Dana with legal issues and then he proceeds to lose, he's cut 100%. He is not a Jon Jones character where you can go and hit a lady with your car and Dana's like, I don't know what's going on with Jon. Definitely not that type of character. And I don't think Dana will let anyone else get to that level once Jon has actually gone. So I'm going to go Cedric at $1.45 for the win on that one. But McVeigh is another one of my underdogs. Again, it sounds like I'm just saying that for everyone. I've only picked 4 underdogs on the entire card that could get the win. So we've got Hines and McVeigh. So far, they're 2 of my potential underdogs. Then we move up to the prelims. We have, in the lightweight division, Terence McKinney versus Slava Borshev. How good is my pronunciation getting, by the way? I'm actually impressed. Now, McKinney, I remember him from previous fights also. I'm just scrolling up to him. Looking at this fight, I don't see any way that McKinney does not win. My side camera is going off like crazy and it's so distracting. But yeah, I think it'll be a crazy world if Borshev gets this win. I think Terence McKinney, he will be going in there. He'll be going in for a knockout. I feel like he's going to want to kick off the prelims with a bang. I think he's going to go for like a highlight knockout, a highlight real finish, okay? Mark my words. So I don't know how much he is by KO, but I'm just going him as a straight bet at $1.20, which it's fuck all, ladies and gentlemen. But if you want to get a bit spicy, if you got extra bit of money to throw around this weekend, go Terence McKinney by knockout. Almost guaranteed money. Then we move to the women's flyweight division. We have Vivian Arugio versus Tracy Cortez. Now, Tracy Cortez, a bit of a fan favourite, I'd like to say. Heavily known for her relationship with Brian Ortega at one point. I believe they've broken up now. But I think she grinds out the win, to be honest. I think she just has too much octagon knowledge to let the win go. But Arugio, who knows? This is literally a flip of the coin fight, but I have to go Tracy Cortez. And if I had to pick a finish, probably decision. I think it'll be look, I don't want to sound like a sexist pig, but I think it'll be a boring, ground-out women's fight. Just to a decision. Tracy Cortez will get her hand raised. And then we're on to the featherweight division. We have Haida Emil versus Jose Delgado. Holy fuck. How did I fuck that up so much? But anyway, we have Emil, who is a certified grappler from what I've seen. And I think, I don't think I see this going any other way than, who have I got there? Emil. I think Emil will probably, if it's not a decision, I think he gets the submission at some point. But I think he's just going to, much like the last fight. Look, you want a toilet break for this card? That last one and this one, quickly duck off to the loo, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm going Emil at $1.55. Probably our most decent odds at the moment, I would say, if you don't pick those dogs I mentioned earlier. Then we go into the middleweight division. We have Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez. These guys are both getting pretty long in the tooth. They've both been around for a fair while now, and I can't say either of them are in my sort of fights that I have to watch, okay? But them paired up together, something about that just screams to me that this will be a sick fight. I think it's the age-old grappler versus striker. Jack Hermanson is a bit of a grappler, and Rodriguez seems to love his knockouts. So based on that, I do usually like to go the grappler because obviously if they can get you to the floor, you're pretty well fucked. But I think I'm going to go Rodriguez by a knockout. Rodriguez is only paying $1.55. So again, do a bit of research how much he is by knockout. You never know. You never know, guys. Do with these tips what you will. All right, main card. Let's rip right in. I'll go slightly more in depth with these ones, but again, not too much. I'm actually surprised we haven't had an interruption yet, so that's fucking good. I've also just noticed that my camera is on quite a lean for some reason, but anywho. Oh, God. I actually need a sip as well while I've taken this random little break halfway through the podcast. Oh, yeah. All right. Let me scroll up here while I'm doing all this. Sorry, guys. Play yourselves a bit of background music while we wait. All right. Main card. We kick off in the lightweight division. We have Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. And look, Talbot is he's a striker. He's a pretty good striker, but I mean, in this division, they all are. You know what I mean? They're all reasonably smaller. Oh, no, that's lightweight. For some reason, I thought it was flyweight. Oh, that's because I've scrolled up too far. What a fucking idiot. Don't mind me, ladies and gentlemen. But, yeah, I think I'm going to go Talbot in this one. I don't have much more to add to this fight. It's not the greatest way to kick off the main card, you know what I mean? But look, if I had to make a prediction, I reckon by the time fights and stuff get locked in, the card is a bit of a moving target up until the weigh-ins, I believe. So I think that one might get knocked back to the prelims if I had to throw a dart. But let's rip into some actually exciting fights. Oh, who did I go? Oh, Talbot at $1.70 for that one I'm going. Then we go on to the flyweight division. I am keen as fuck for this one. We have Brendan Royval versus Joshua Van. Brendan Royval's opponent fell out. We touched on it at the start of the episode. And who other than a can't get any worse favourite, Joshua Van puts his hand up. He only fought 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he goes, get me back in there against one of the scariest cunts in the division. Brendan Royval, he's been around for a long time now. I believe, don't quote me, but I believe he's even had like a title shot or two in his time. Oh, so Royval, pretty good grappler. He's got a few submissions, mainly by guillotine, and I think our boy Joshua Van I think he's going to get it done. I have to go with him. What we've seen as of late seems like an absolute killer. And like I said, I don't know what it is about the kid. He's just turned into one of my favorites. And he's not like, I don't know, he's not like out there trying to make himself your favorite. He's proven himself in the octagon. And the fights I've seen, I'm like, oh yeah, let's get it done. So I'm going Joshua Van at $1.80. I don't know how that'll finish, to be honest. Perhaps just a a decision, but I hope that Joshua Van can get the finish. Imagine that. The late call-up, you go in 3 weeks after your last fight, you get a finish, you're fucking in the UFC's good books then. Then we see our boy Joshua Van in title talks. Then we move on to the welterweight division. We have Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. Both, again, absolute veterans of the sport. Both, as much as you hate to say it, probably towards the back end of their career. If they can string together a couple of wins, then maybe they get like a, I don't know. Like, I would like to say a title fight, but again, I can't really see either of these fighting for a title anytime soon. Probably Moicano, if I had to pick one out of both of them, most likely to go for a title, but he's got to get through Dariush first. And I've mentioned on the pod before, I love Beneil Dariush. I've placed a couple of bets on him in the past. He's pulled through for me, got me a couple of sneaky wins. But I just think Moicano, as of late, he's started to look pretty good again. His submissions are fucking next level. So I think I've got to go, Moicano. Moicano's paying $1.84 just for the straight win. But I think there's probably some value in Moicano by submission, if, like I said, if you got money to play with. So that's how I'm going for that one. Then we move on to the co-main. And again, I am excited for this one. Holy shit. We have Alexandra Pantoja. I almost said that in like a Spanish accent for some reason. We've got Pantoja, who is the current flyweight champ, up against New Zealand's own Kai Kara France. And I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, that it would be so good to have our two Aussie champs we have at the moment and then a fellow Anzac champ over in New Zealand. Oh, holy fuck. Sorry, guys. Buys? What the fuck? As I mentioned this week, still feeling a little under the weather. So, in saying that, Pantoja is an absolute fucking beast. He seems to be one of those fighters that's the ultimate package in his small little body frame. It is unfortunate he's in the flyweight division. Like, imagine if he was like 6'2" and a light heavyweight. He would dominate the world. Unfortunately, he was born in a little man's body and he is doing with that as he will. This, I don't know. It's one of those fights, okay? The smart bet is Pantoja. But I just want to go Kai Kara France. I want him to win. Could you imagine if he just gets in there and gets a sneaky knockout done? It would be insane. So because of that, I'm going to go... I got to go Pantoja. Got to do the smart bet. I'm going Pantoja to win that, but at the bottom of my heart, I do want Kai Kara France to win, and I fucking hope he does. Hang on, guys. I'm just going to do a cough. Oh, my Lord. I need a cough button in this studio. Anyone listening that installs cough buttons, hit your boy up. Then the main event. What am I don't know. I was just tripping as what that was called just then. But we have Ilia Topuria that vacated his belt and moved up for this fight up against Charles Oliveira. Now, I am so keen for this fight. This is one of those fights where I think this is probably going to be the most technically skilled fights we see of 2025. Both these guys, absolute killers, absolute proven fucking MMA athletes, okay? Ilia Topuria has blown my mind. I've said it before, he seems to be the best example of a martial arts athlete we've seen in years. And he just seems unstoppable, to be honest. He's undefeated. He's decided to just vacate his belt, move up. He's fucking just give me anyone, give me any time, anywhere, that sort of shit, right? But Charles Oliveira, everyone doubted him for so long, and now he's just on that unstoppable climb as well. And I genuinely do not know how this fight is going to go. No one knows. It's insane. We don't know how Ilia is going to look moving up in weight, and we don't know if Charles is going to buckle under the pressure of fighting this new superstar, Ilia Topuria. It is insane. It is another one of those fights where the odds blew my mind, and part of me gets it. Ilia Topuria, he's the new UFC superstar. They have him at $1.25 to win, which blew my mind when I looked over the other side and they have Charles Oliveira at $4.35 to win. Now, does every single morsel of my body want to slap $50 on Charles Oliveira at $4.35? 110%, because if there's anyone that can overcome this and get this win and reclaim his title, it's Charles Oliveira. I think those odds are very, very incorrect. But if it is the fight that we're all predicting and Ilia Topuria jumps in the cage and he shows us all that he is that next fucking superstar of the UFC, he's unstoppable, he continues his fucking unbeaten streak, and he just proves all the haters wrong, then 100% the odds are correct. And that is the best thing about the UFC. We do not know how this is going to fucking pan out. But much like the last fight, I have to bet with my head. I'm going Ilia Topuria to win at $1.25. And if he does win, I think it's going to be like KO in the second or third round. I think if he tries to grind out a win with Charles Oliveira, Charles is going to catch him in a submission at some point, and Topuria is going to fuck up his whole legacy. Not legacy. That's a bit harsh. He's still going to fucking dominate the UFC. He's only youngish. He's up there. So that was probably a bit of a dramatic thing to say, but I think he needs to go in there, get the knockout. Otherwise, he's going to get caught in a fucking anaconda choke or something that Charles loves. So that brings us to the end of the episode. And guys, you'll never guess, I've come up with a new name for our multi, okay? I've been calling it the Can't Get Any Worse multi for so long since we started doing these, brainstorming. I'm like, fuck, we need a real name for the segment. What can we call it? I was playing around with shit, and it fucking came to me. Like an epiphany, if you will. The Can't Bet Any Worse multi for UFC 317. We have... Oh, my God. I just stalled because of how excited I was of saying the name for the first time. Did you guys catch that? The Can't Bet Any Worse multi. It's actually so clever. But anyway, let's fucking do it properly, mainly because I need it for the social media clip for this episode. But our Can't Get Anywhere... Guys, bear with me. This is the first time I'm doing it live. I should have just rolled with it when it rolled off the tongue so well the first time. Oh, God. Our Can't Bet Any Worse UFC 317 multi, voted on you guys, the listeners, on Instagram. We have, with 80% of the votes, our boy Joshua Van at $1.80. Then with 75% of the votes, this one took me off guard, but I'm fucking with you guys. Like I said in the breakdown, I want this to happen more than anything. Kai Kara France at $2.50. God, I hope he can fucking get it done. And then to finish off our multi at 71% of the votes, another one. I fucking hope this happens, but just quietly, I can't see it happening. But if it does, guys, we are riding all the way to the bank together. We have Charles Oliveira at $4.35, giving us a combined multi price of $26.72. Holy fuck. So I'll be slapping a bit of money on that. Hopefully we get a sneaky win and we can put it towards some merch or some shit like that. But if you're looking for some sneaky underdogs on the card, I've picked 4 that I think are possible, okay? I've got Charles Oliveira. He was just featured in our multi. I've got Alvin Hines early on in the card. Kai Kara France, again in our multi. And Jackson McVeigh. I think all 4 of those are potential upsets of the night. So if you've got a bit of extra change to throw around, throw it on those guys. Hopefully 1 or 2 of them gets through for you guys. I don't have any betting agencies or anything behind me, so I don't need to say gamble responsibly, but part of me feels like I do need to say it. So you guys know who you are. If you are struggling to buy your kid fucking powdered milk this week, do not go and fucking bet your money on it and go, oh, Jimmy from the Can't Get Any Worse told me to do this. But if you're buying your fucking 8th carton for the week, throw the next carton on Kai Kara France by knockout. You guys are welcome. Thank me in my DMs next week. But that has been our UFC 317 breakdown, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. I don't have a great deal to plug this week, so if you want to get in touch with the show, send submissions via DM on Instagram or email me at cantgetanyworsepod@gmail.com. Keep sharing this shit around. I appreciate you all, and I will see you later.